America, just when you thought you had seen every scandal out of Washington, there's this. A staffer for Democratic Senator Ben Cardin is out of a job, and it comes after a graphic sex tape was filmed in a historic Senate hearing room. Capitol Police are investigating how it was allowed to happen. The Senate sex tape was recorded last week, but the time of day is unclear. It's the same esteemed place where Supreme Court justices had their confirmation hearings, where the 9/11 Commission uncovered what happened there, and it's where James Comey testified against former President Trump. The identities of the people involved in the video have not been confirmed, but legal experts think they could face criminal charges like trespassing. Meanwhile, some in the media are really spinning this story. NBC News blames conservative outlets for reporting that a Democratic Senate staffer filmed the sex video in a Capitol Hill hearing room. Greg, this is an early present.
Thank you so much.
On a Monday.
A sex tape before Christmas.
I mean, what more
I promise not to open it. But it does look like Joe Biden's motorcade wasn't the only thing rear-ended.
Oh.
That joke would work if you could see the pictures, and I have seen the pictures, and I have to tell you, it definitely is a sex tape. But the so-called accused, which we cannot mention, claims that this accusation is based on homophobia. And that's predicated on the idea that people are outraged over the act, which they aren't. They're reacting to the where. Mm-hmm. You know, they always pull this trick, you know, they're banning books. No, they're moving them. It's not the book, it's the location. It's not transphobia to, say, reject gender activism in middle school or reject men playing in women's sports. It's not the what, it's the where. That's how it always is. So it's like the Dems' favorite hobby is not simply an acceptance of behavior. As a conservative and a libertarian, I don't care what you do. You can do whatever you want in the privacy of wherever. But they always go towards eliminating the barriers to location. So, you know, I have nothing against sex, drag queens, sexually explicit books. I don't care. But I'm smart enough to respect, you know, appropriate ages and locations. I like to see men in sports, but not beating up women in sports, right? I don't want a klepto in charge of our nuclear waste. So it's not the what, it's the where. And I reject the premise that even talking or joking about this is homophobic. It's hysterical. There are so many puns that I'm refraining from because I'm saving them for tonight's show.
We're going to have to watch that because there might be something people really want to see.
There might be some literal breaking news.
There might be some breaking news. All right. The other thing is that the NBC News, it was basically saying conservatives pounce because they didn't want to actually cover the substance. They just wanted to consider the source.
Well, I don't like pouncing, but it's my job, Dana.
There you go.
And I made a few gay porn movie titles about this Senate scandal. Would you like to hear them?
Can't wait.
I don't know.
The seat of government.
Ah, nice.
Reclaiming my behind. Like reclaiming my time.
Not bad.
Testimonying.
Okay, that's a good one.
Rogering the witness.
What's that mean?
Stop it, Dana.
Badgering the witness. Swearing in and out. And Ben Cardin's cheeks of staff. Now, I came up with those in 5 minutes because I'm a sick puppy. But when I realized that this was a Democrat staffer, I have to say I was very relieved. But I should have seen it coming. You know, after they did the fire alarm pulling, the throwing of the elbows, a sex tape was inevitable. Mm-hmm. And now it's a race to the bottom, Greg.
It is.
They have been telling us, the Democrats, that they need to keep the government out of the bedroom. Well, they just turned the government into the bedroom, Jessica.
I like it.
And to me, this is worse than January 6th. So much worse. Because they say they defiled the Congress on... What is this? We had a couple guys throw their feet up on Nancy's desk. What is this? They said they obstructed an official government proceeding. They delayed the certification for 2 hours? They're not going to be able to have a hearing in this room for weeks. This thing needs to be deep cleaned. Now, also, I was told that there was the German guy who was on top. Now, if I was Joe Biden, I would summon the ambassador immediately. Because You know, from trade, from not paying their NATO membership dues. They have been taking advantage of Americans for far too long.
They've been screwing everybody.
They have been screwing the American people. It's time for the German free ride to end, Greg.
Yes.
And I just hope the guy's not pregnant. Well, you said men could get pregnant. And if they are pregnant, I hope they have the baby.
Yes.
Permission to be taken seriously?
No.
Well, knock yourself out. Let's see how that goes.
You can't do this and get caught and claim you're the victim. That's the Hunter Biden defense. You can't break all the laws or all of our moral codes and say, no, for judging me, that's wrong. You can't judge me. That's what Hunter has done. That's what, when you break the law, you say, oh, it's systemic racism. Or I'm the victim of capitalism if I'm homeless. We have to bring shame back, Jessica.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think he has any shame, right? He was like, well, one, if you're filming yourself doing that, I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, there's the problem. Also, that Ben Cardin's office knew that he apparently had some known problems of this sort in the past, not in the Capitol, but of posting inappropriate social media messages.
Yes. I've seen a lot of them now. I extensively prepared for this segment, as I do for all my segments. I appreciate that you did today, though. That was really big of you. This is the vindication of Madison Cawthorn. Remember when he said, everyone's always asking me to do it at work, and they have all these big orgies going. And I appreciate that he tweeted it. I hadn't thought about him in a long time, and he said, I told you so, or something like that over the weekend. Everyone, January 6th is worse. Everyone knows that. Why Amy Klobuchar? Why her seat? I think that's really strange that that was his selection for it.
Highlighting.
Oh, it was a great view. Like, if you watched the video, which I did. It does make it, on the serious note, really hard for people who are actual victims of homophobia or discrimination in any way whatsoever. He had problems with this before with the social media posts. I know he's trying to reference back as well. He had made some comments about, you know, free Palestine, et cetera. The obviously gay community in Palestine is not thriving. They certainly wouldn't get to do it at work like that and only lose your job for it. But it does make a mockery of people who have real discrimination going against them. And he should be investigated to the fullest extent, whatever the law is about that. I doubt they have something on the book.
We'll have to create, there ought to be a law, maybe. The other thing is, remember just a few months ago, there was this uproar about the relaxation of a dress code on the Senate side. So people still want the place to be revered as a place of dignity where we do the people's business.
Well, I usually try to do a lot of research to come to the show, but I did not do a deep dive into this topic because I didn't want to have to not be able to unsee things on the internet. I saw and the search history as well. Really glad I went to journalism school to dig into this situation. But for me, for the revered part of the Senate, right? Whether it's becoming a joke based on the dress code being taken away, whether it's the American people not having trust in the Senate, having their best interest in mind. I know a lot of Senate staffers who are not going home for Christmas because they're working very hard to get a deal done when it comes to this immigration problem we're seeing at the border, where there are thousands of people coming in every single day. They're working late nights. They're not fooling around in the Senate room with whoever this may be. And for them, they're very frustrated. And for people who saw what he said about this being, the criticism being about him being a gay man, they're incensed because, like, no, it's about you doing this at our place of work, not just where you work. And there should be consequences for it, and there are. And I think that it was smart for the senator just to get rid of him right away instead of trying to play it out and have some excuse about why. Just got it over with.
And also, that senator is retiring at the end of this year. He's probably like, what happened to the young people on Capitol Hill?
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.